Namaste, mere pyare bachcho. I know, your exams are just around the corner and you're all working so hard. So I thought, let's do a quick, simple revision of one of my favorite chapters in economics, money and credit. Don't worry at all. We're going to make this super easy to understand. Ready?
Okay, so picture this. You go out to buy your favorite snack, maybe a hot samosa. You give the vendor a 10 rupee note and he hands you the samosa. It's so simple, right? We do it every day. But have you ever just stopped for a second and wondered what's really going on? I mean, why does that little piece of paper have any value at all? It's just paper.
And that brings us to the big question, doesn't it? What is money, really? It seems like such an obvious thing, but trust me, the story behind it is absolutely fascinating. And more importantly, why did we even invent it? What was wrong with the world before money? Come on, let's find out.
So to really get this, we've got to travel back in time, way back, to a world where money just didn't exist. We're going to look at the whole journey, from people treating stuff directly with each other, all the way to the banks and the digital money we use today.
Imagine a world without any money, okay? Let's say I'm a shoemaker. I make really good shoes. But my family needs wheat to make rotis for dinner. So I go to a farmer and say, hey, take these awesome shoes and give me some wheat. But what if the farmer says, sorry, your shoes are nice, but I don't need them. I need clothes for my son. See? Now we have a huge problem.
Now, this tricky situation has a very important name, and you have to remember this for your exams, okay? It's called the double coincidence of wants. A bit of a mouthful, I know. It basically means that what I want to sell is exactly what you want to buy at the same time. Just think about how difficult that is. Finding that perfect match is almost impossible and wastes so much time and energy.
And this is where money becomes the superhero. It comes in and solves the whole problem. You see, money acts as an intermediate step, or as the economists like to call it, a medium of exchange. So now the shoemaker can just sell his shoes to anyone for money and then take that money and buy wheat from any farmer he wants. Suddenly, life is so much simpler, isn't it?
But you know, money hasn't always been paper notes and coins. Oh no, it's had quite a journey. Way back in ancient times, people used things like grains and even cattle as money. Then came cool metallic coins. First these simple punch-marked coins, and later on, those beautiful gold and silver coins from the time of kings. And now, of course, we have paper notes and all the money sitting in our bank accounts.
Just look at that evolution. From these ancient, rough-looking punch-marked coins from thousands of years ago to the familiar paper notes we have in our wallets today. It's really been quite a journey, hasn't it?
Okay, but this brings up a really important question. Think about it. A 500 rupee note, what is it? It's just a piece of paper, right? Unlike a gold coin, it has no value of its own. You can't do much with the paper itself. So why on earth do we all accept it as if it's super valuable?
Well, the answer is actually quite simple. We accept it because our government says we have to. It's authorized. In India, it's the Reserve Bank of India, the RBI, that issues currency for the government. And because of that, there's a law that says no one can refuse a payment made in rupees. It's basically a promise, backed by the whole country. This also goes for what we call demand deposits. That's the money in our bank accounts that we can take out whenever we want or on demand.
And here's a perfect example of how we use that money in the bank. A check. A check isn't cash, right? It's just a piece of paper. But it's a powerful piece of paper. It's an instruction you give to your bank telling it to pay a specific amount from your account to someone else's. It's one of the main ways our demand deposits act just like real money. All right, so we've got money sorted. Now let's move on to the next big topic, credit. You know, we usually just call it a loan. But here's the big, dramatic question. Is credit a hero that helps people, or is it a villain that traps them? Let's investigate, shall we? Okay, for your exam, you'll need the definition, and it's super simple. Credit or a loan is just an agreement. An agreement where a lender gives a borrower some money or goods or services, and in return, the borrower promises to pay them back in the future. That's it. That's the main idea.
Now, to really understand the two sides of credit, the good and the bad, your textbook gives us two perfect stories. First, we'll look at Salim, a shoe manufacturer, and see how a loan helped him become successful. But then, we'll look at the story of Swapna, a farmer, who took a loan, and it led her into a really big problem. And you can see the difference so clearly here. Salim needed a loan for a big festival order he already had confirmed, so his risk was pretty low. Credit helped him make a great profit. For him, credit was definitely a hero. But then there's Swapna.
She took a loan for farming. And farming is always risky, you know? The weather, the pests, anything can happen. And when her crop failed, she couldn't repay the loan. She fell into what we call a debt trap. For her, credit turned into a real villain.
And this idea, Butcho, is so important to remember. The debt trap. It's a horrible situation where a loan, instead of helping you, actually pushes you into a place that's really painful and difficult to escape from. Often it means you have to take out new loans just to pay back your old ones. It's a very dangerous cycle.
So, okay, we've seen that credit can be good or bad. It really depends. But where do people actually get these loans from? This is a super important topic for your exam, so listen closely. Credit comes from two main sources, what we call the formal sector and the informal sector.
Let's quickly break down the big differences. The formal sector, that's your banks and cooperatives. They're all supervised by the RBI, which is great. They usually offer lower interest rates, but, and this is a big but, they almost always need collateral. You know, some kind of security like property papers. On the other side, you have the informal sector. This is your local moneylenders, traders, even employers. There's no supervision at all. They charge crazy high interest rates, but they often give loans without asking for any collateral.
So what's the real picture in rural India? Well, take a look at this. It's really interesting. While more than half of the loans do come from commercial banks, which is good, look at that big slice of the pie. Almost a quarter of all loans still come from moneylenders. And you know what that means? Extremely high interest rates.
So the question is, who is taking these super expensive informal loans? Well, here's the sad answer. For poor households, more than half of their loans come from this informal sector. Just think about that. The people who have the least money are the ones paying the highest price to borrow it. It's a really tough situation.
Now, let's flip the coin and look at rich households. And wow, it's a completely different story. For them, a huge majority of their loans come from the formal sector, from banks. And what does that mean? It means they get access to much cheaper credit. This difference between the rich and the poor, this is a really crucial point to understand from this chapter.
So this brings up a huge question, right? How can we help the poor get access to these cheaper formal loans, especially when they don't have any collateral to give the bank? Well, thankfully, India has come up with a really powerful solution. It's called a self-help group, or an SHG.
And the idea behind it is just beautiful and so simple. Usually, about 15 to 20 women, mostly from the same village or neighborhood, form a group. They all pool their small savings regularly. It could be just 25 or 50 rupees, whatever they can manage. From this collection, they can give small loans to members who need it. But here's the magic part. If the group is regular with their savings, the bank sees that they're disciplined. And then, the bank is willing to give a big loan to the group as a whole, without asking for any collateral. The group's own regularity becomes the guarantee. Isn't that brilliant?
And this is the power of that idea in action, a real self-help group meeting. You know, these groups are helping millions and millions of women all across India to stand on their own feet financially. They're helping them escape that terrible cycle of debt from moneylenders. It's just a truly amazing story of empowerment.
So if you have to take away just one thing from this whole chapter, it's this powerful line from your textbook. Cheap and affordable credit is crucial for the country's development. For our country to grow, for everyone to have a chance to succeed, people must have access to loans that are fair and affordable. It's that simple.
And so, I'll leave you with a final thought to think about. Now that you understand all this, what role do you think the banks in your own area should be playing? How can they help the small farmers and shopkeepers that you see every day? Just think about it. All right, all the very best for your exams, my dear Butcho. You are going to do wonderfully. I know it.